Hi, Judy Haddad, owner of Orange Purple Passions, My Healing LLC, and 5 Purple Oranges. I'm the founder and executive director. That's my charity, founded in the memory of my son, who was killed by a truck. So here we are, hit by a truck. I'm gonna make a very brief one because I'm gonna try to do a couple more videos this week. This is my journey back to the working world. So I last sort of told you how I left my job that I had when my son was killed, and then I had to figure out what to do. It was a struggle. I had the money, I had a couple things going on. I had just gotten my body back, but I was in a lot of pain on a pretty regular basis. So I was able to drive, I was able to walk. Sitting was very painful. I didn't know what I wanted to do, like where I wanted to take my career, such as it was at that point. Previous to losing Alana, I had started interviewing again in libraries. I have my master's in library science. I was very comfortable doing that work. I loved doing that work. But when Alana was younger, it was hard for me to work a lot of those hours. You single moms out there know what I'm talking about. So I'm trying to figure out what my body can tolerate as far as work goes and what I would need. And my thoughts were, I've got the college fund from Alana. I know that at some point there will be some settlement money. That ended up happening sooner than we thought. But I knew that was coming. My mom was like, don't worry about it. We'll take care of you for as long as we need to fight the case. Because we were so worried Marco was gonna screw everything up. So I thought in my head, instead of jumping into a whole new situation, maybe I should try something out. But I didn't know what to do. So I decided, you know what, I'm gonna just sort of stay in informal education and let's see what's out there. So I ended up interviewing in 2 places. And one was a regular job, but it was maybe 30 hours a week, but it was a little too far. The drive was fine when I went to interview, but I have a feeling it would have been not a good drive on a regular basis. And it was a situation where I felt that I was going to be unhappy. It was a little too similar. It was a history museum. It was definitely something I could handle. I definitely would have been in charge. So it worked, I had the managerial experience, but it would have been, a one-man show again, and I knew how that would go. And I think I was sort of worried about health insurance a little bit. The thing with that, and I'll touch upon this later, is that I ended up, after I quit my job, I ended up worrying that, so the thing with Medicaid, so I wasn't working, I didn't have any money. The thing with Medicaid is that they tell you, you apply, and it may take months to find out if you get on, but then everything is backdated. Knowing I still had physical therapy and I still have a lot of injuries, I was sort of worried about chancing that. I really wish I had just gone with it. So I applied for Medicaid, but I also co-bred my old insurance. Well, here's where I hate myself, is that I got Medicaid almost right away, and they did offer to backdate everything, like pay everything in retro, whatever, to the date that I applied. They would have covered any of the bills. Meanwhile, because I didn't know, I knew I needed another surgery, and I didn't know if Medicaid was gonna cover that, and I knew my insurance already, it was part of that ongoing thing, and pre-existing conditions and Obamacare and blah, 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 blah. Having said all that, it was hard for me to navigate that whole situation. Well, I ended up co-branding my health insurance, and I was paying well over $800 a month. I think I was paying about $1,000 a month. And then they turned around and didn't cover a single effing thing. They didn't cover anything. So the entire time I could have been getting all the free care, free, I consider all the money I put in over the years working, not free. I paid into it, but that's just my political slant. So I could have gotten that care for free until I got money or a job that covered me. Instead of, I was out thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars going with my old health insurance system. I'm going to save that for another time. But that was one of my concerns, like, how do I get my health covered? I don't know what's going on with my body. And what can my body tolerate? I think it's snowing. It's October, 20th? And I'm pretty sure it's snowing out there. Fun. So I interviewed for that one job and then interviewed for another job that was going to be the opposite of what I just interviewed for. So it would be working with kids, which I didn't know if I was going to be able to do again emotionally. I was going to be on my feet all summer. It was going to be full-time during the summer, and then maybe continue on. So it was a contract position, and I thought, that's great. Unbeknownst to me, everything was going to go on that summer. If I had known then what I know now, I probably wouldn't have taken the job, but you know, it was meant to be, I'm sure, for some reason. I learned quite a bit of things out of it. I don't know what at the moment, but I'll get back to you on that. No, I'm sure there's stuff I took away from that. I had friends that I formed relationships out of that. I learned what my body could tolerate. I learned what I was willing to put up with and what I was not willing to put up with. And a lot of it was, you know, you reach a certain age and you just don't want little 20-year-old, 20, 25, 20, even 28-year-old girls telling you how to do your job. So that's kind of where I was with that. It was a switch. It was teaching science to kids, which I hadn't done in a really long time. I had done it sort of in the nature mode, but not quite. And it was outdoors all the time, on my feet all the time. So for me, being on my feet was better than sitting all the time, but there were just things it was just constant, and my body was just trashed by the end of it. But in my mind, I felt, if I don't work, and then I start going to these civil, the civil case, like depositions and stuff, they're gonna think that this was my thought process, they're gonna think I'm really not trying, that I'm just sitting here trying to collect money, which I wasn't, because, as I said in my last post, I wasn't going to take any disability from the government. I was not going to do that. I knew I could move my body. It was just I was in a lot of pain. So I took this job, and then it turned out like they dock your pay for every day you miss, because it's a contract position. I was working with kids. It was at a camp, and it was hard for me because I was one of the few adults working there, and by adults I mean anybody over the age of 28, let's say. And so it's like I have a life that these guys don't have. They know what to expect. I didn't know what to expect, and I was being the responsible person in any way I could. But when I have a date with the DA come up, or when I have like someone in town that needs me, like, you know, there were things that came up that I had ceremonies I was going up to in Wisconsin, and as always, Alon's always going to come first. So it sort of taught me that, like, it's back to that thing where, okay, I no longer have Alon on this earth, and I'm no longer a single mom in that respect, but I still have to devote time to him. I still am in this limbo with the criminal case. My brain was on, we weren't supposed to be on our phones, and there were days that I was on the phone with my lawyer about the criminal case. There were days I was on the phone with the investigators about the case. So we were setting up the meeting with the DA. There was just a lot going on. I wasn't ready to be immersed in the work, and maybe there could have been another option for me, like working part-time at Starbucks or something, even though I can't stand the smell of coffee. So I don't know. You know, hindsight's 20/20. I don't know what I would do. I was going to say if it happened again, but I don't know what the answer was for me at that point. But I'm sort of glad that I did what I did. At the end of the summer, I don't know if she just didn't want to hire me or if they just didn't have the work. But one of the bosses wanted to pay me to work there, and my direct supervisor was like, no. So, and it was okay. It wasn't a bad commute, but it was okay. It was okay. I was let go, but then it was like, oh, I gotta figure out what's happening now. Like, now I really have to make a decision. So by that time, I knew, and the funny thing is, there was a moment in time during that summer that I believe we knew we had some of the money. We got some of the money from the civil case. It's gonna be another post. But so any other person, I think, would have been like, see ya guys, but I'm not that person. Like, I wanted to live out my contract. I'm not gonna leave them high and dry. I had these dates that I had to go, and I felt bad about that. I tried to schedule everything outside of that work week, but I couldn't. So I do like that non-traditional work week in a lot of ways. It's hard for me to not have a family of any kind and not have a non-traditional work week, and then like not know what to do with the weekends. So a lot of times I work on my weekends because then I can have weekends during the week when nobody's around doing weekendy things. So maybe that's not the best choice for me. I don't know, but I just was kind of like, okay, you know, this is hard. I'm working so hard on the civil case and the criminal case, like pushing these forward. There's a lot of work to be done. I need to find something that's not going to take any of my brain, like that. It just needs to wait. And I wish I had given myself that time and given myself that permission. And I kind of did, but I kind of didn't. So at the end of the summer, I was like, well, I got nothing else to do. It's in so many ways for me demoralizing looking for a job, because by this point I've now had, in many ways, two completely separate careers. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my experience or education, and I honestly didn't know what I could do. And I sort of fell into network marketing. I've gone in like I don't want to say 180, I've almost done a 360 of my feelings of the profession. So I'm not going to get too much into that here. I want to make this short because I'm going to post a few more, I'm hoping, this week. But I fell into it, maybe caught up in all the BS that people tell you about network marketing. It's possible. But not expecting too much of it, but also not fully understanding what I was getting into, and sort of having the reservations I had then, I lost some point along the way, and then I've gained them again, because now I'm much smarter and I see things way more clearly. So, but in many ways, I'm not gonna sit here and knock that profession. That is not the point of this polo. But falling into something that had been a pattern of my life, that was a pattern I really needed to break, desperately needed to break. So I fell into a job that wasn't right for me. It was never going to be right for me. I could work it any way that felt genuine to me, but I wasn't with the right people. I wasn't with the right product, or it just wasn't right for me in 15 million different ways. It brought me some community and some friends that I will keep forever and ever, and that I hold in my heart, like, more than you can imagine, but it wasn't the right fit. And so, like, that whole square peg in a round hole, I'm back there again. And it took me a really long time, and I'm still struggling with that part of me, because I need to mesh my passion and my purpose. You have to have a little bit of reality built in there as well. So again, I'm gonna leave you there for right now, and get back to this topic and some others this week. So I really appreciate you watching. Thanks very much. Bye.